lids that were collector's lids, money, dimes, quarters.
Okay, we're live on YouTube now.
They used to, when they used to open the skating rink or the restaurant, when they'd open Coke, and the lid fell, it fell through a hole and it fell under the bill. I don't know that. I had a box of them in there that didn't. Had all these old guys come in. Oh, yeah, that's how you get these.
You're live on YouTube.
I'm live on YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, good.
You're a YouTube star.
Is this being broadcast all over the world?
You have to talk like this.
To the 12 people who are in on
You're
this.
pretty optimistic.
I don't have an agenda, so I can't tell what's going on. I just talk to the TV.
Eric, do you have an agenda we can post?
I'm okay. I got it on my phone.
Okay.
We got it figured out here.
Yeah, we're good.
We need Karen Gutierrez on here though.
Yeah.
She's the one that knows everything.
Right.
I think she's called in. I think she's on there.
Karen, are you on the line?
Well, I'll tell you something. You couldn't have it.
Yes, I'm on the phone and I don't have a camera.
Oh. That's all good.
But seriously, they did it. She was good. Also, because I can imagine if you start
They're live.
Hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
What's going on?
You're online and ready to go whenever y'all ready to start.
Susan's digging
There's
through
on you, we're doing the YouTube.
her old pictures
Yeah.
and then Bill.
Oh, I'm telling you, so should I?
No,
Tim
you can-
Tim will probably, are they going to do from their office or what?
I'm doing research from school.
Wow, shit.
On
I didn't know they were doing that.
I'm not gonna be in here. So you
Yeah,
can be in
I
here.
know, but Jim and Ron come in.
Okay.
Eric.
Eric-
They're all from,
Eric and Ashley are on Zoom.
okay.
Took them to the whole history of school. I've never seen it before. Been looking everywhere for it. She got some good stuff in it.
Well, I don't know that you'll ever need it, but Wyatt Sparks told me. He worked for one of the old surveyors up here 100 years ago. And all that guy's records are in the library. They're stored in there. All the Upper Canyon surveys, all these old areas.
Really? Which laundry room?
One,
Which room? Where is
I
it?
have no idea. I
Who
think
said,
they're just stored there. Wyatt probably knows.
in which room? Oh, did you say laundry room?
No, library.
Oh, over here. You know what they could do? You remember old Lou, the carpenter guy who used to work there? I think he did.
Give you your laptop.
No, it's for you.
Oh,
Just take the.
I can keep it.
I'll keep her up.
There you
Karen,
go. Lou, I heard it was the great.
You have the Zoom invite?
I don't know. He- I don't really know
Tim wants it.
what all was been in there.
Email it to you.
Yes,
But,
can you email it right now,
I heard that.
Eric.
I mean, Adam, I'm
he
sorry.
had some stuff.
I'm sorry.
In fact,
so just email it to
he
Tim.
one time, he
Yes.
had a bunch of his,
Okay.
and then I don't know where he went.
I need
think
the
he
Zoom
went down
invite.
to-
Oh, here.
I'm doing it right now, Karen.
He
I
went-
thought he passed on.
Oh, there.
He used to like hang out at WPS.
That place is
Got it.
getting interesting now that they're gonna put an axe throwing out there.
It's what,
Bunch of drunk cowboys throwing axes.
I didn't even know what the one I said was open, I'm put in an axe ball. I said, what's an axe ball?
Other, go to Karen Cook's email. How do I open that back up?
I sent it to him, Ron.
You didn't want to. I don't know how many years you got left, whatever you're gonna do, but you can stay with it and make things.
Like
YouTube. You know, we have $10, we have $10.
Yeah.
We have some more, but at least, I mean, you probably just take it for advantage that you're just thinking, well, we said, but no. Well, we really lucked out having you in the place of, first of all, the interest of it, you know, and I told Elizabeth a long time ago, I said, let me tell you something, John's interested in this thing. I think, he's gonna push it as much as.
John Cornelius.
Yes,
Hi there, how are you?
good,
Okay, we're just making sure you can hear us.
yeah.
All good? How's Frank?
Oh, I'm very good. Are you guys in the building?
Yes, we're in the building. We're in Tim's office.
Okay, at the end of this, meeting, can I come and join up with you a little bit to go over some of those little projects I've been working on?
You betcha.
Okay,
Sounds.
Yeah, are we
Sure.
ready to start? So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Well, I'll call the June 1st Utility Committee meeting to order. And can we have an approval of the agenda?
also move,
Second.
All in favor?
aye,
Close enough.
Aye.
And, we need an approval of last meeting's notes.
I'll move to approve the, last meeting.
I'll second,
Thank you. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
All right. I guess Eric's there. We need, water, sewer, and asset management reports.
So we just had a follow-up meeting with Karen Torres. They've just about finished the memorandum of agreement with the Southwest Finance Environmental Group. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
And so once they get that started, Ashley and I are going to engage with their GIS staff to start that finishing up the asset inventory and then move on to the next components. The governing body approved the level of service at the last regular council meeting, so that's one of the 5 components. So we're done with that part. And we're working on the level of service for Isaac's at the wastewater treatment plant right now. In terms of CityWorks, we launched CityWorks live for all the departments these last 2 weeks. We've had a series of trainings over the last month with key staff, and it does seem like people are starting to get a good handle on it. But I do think there's a little bit more of the learning process that needs to happen. I think that's going to happen by using it, though. And so with that, the asset management plan is a little bit delayed, and it's really associated with the difficulties of getting that contract solidified between NMED and the Southwest Finance Environmental Group. But we should probably have the project moving here in June, and we should have quite a bit of work done in July. And so Karen was going to be talking with the staff in charge of the CDBG process about allowing us to, or demonstrating our progress that we've made with asset management so we can still apply for the CDBG grant. Is that correct, Adam? That's what our meeting with Karen basically came down to.
Yes.
Correct.
Eric, this is Samantha.
Yes.
They remember the letter you provided me from Karen that was saying that our asset management plan would be complete over the summer.
Yeah, and the issue has been that memorandum of agreement with the entity that's doing it between NMED and them, and it's kind of out of our hands. We've been carrying it.
They said that it was fine, that they can see that it's in progress and that we're working on it. There wasn't any,
Okay.
the local government division, they're not waiting on our plan to be finalized or anything like that.
Okay. And Karen can write a new revised letter with the schedule on it for the grant application, if you would like me to request that of her.
If it wouldn't take too much longer, do you think you need it for the end of the week?
Is it even an issue?
But it would be updated.
I think she could. I can give her a call here if this meeting wraps up early. Otherwise, I'll give her a call tomorrow.
Okay. But it's not a big issue. But a new date letter would help.
Okay, I will address that then. That's all I have for asset management, unless you guys have some questions.
Now, is Ashley there for the sewer audit stuff?
Yes, I'm here. So for the sewer audit, as of Friday, May 29th, we had a confirmed amount of 199 out of that 200, with a potential amount of 214 out of the 200 as of right now. That is not including the Mockingbird sewer line extension, though. So we can add in an extra 11, right, Adam?
Yes. And let me clarify something just with that. That 199 is just for the village of Rideau, so that is not include the balance.
No, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wanted to show you guys this, and I can't remember if I showed you last meeting, but it was something that I've been working on for the sewer audit. So this is kind of the dashboard we started creating for the sewer audit for addresses that have their sewer status done by parcel. So right here, this pie chart at the top is a dynamic pie chart. And so as we zoom in, the numbers will reflect, the percentages will reflect on what we're seeing. So right now, the number of properties that we have completed is 4,107 throughout the village. And then about 56% of them are connected right now. We do have quite a bit that are unavailable and quite a bit of vacant availabilities. And that's it, unless you guys have any questions.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you. Okay. Eric, on the planning part of well plugging and Alta Reservoir, I suppose that's you?
Yep, I'm just waiting for the task order back from Moles and Corbin so I can get it to Tim to sign, and then we can start moving forward with that evaluation.
All right, on engineering, Karen, do you have all that or? who's doing
Town and
that?
Country, that's me.
Is that,
The Town and Country.
yeah,
Town and Country, we reviewed 95% design with Sauter Miller Associates. We did get a copy of the design with the survey. So they said they submitted it.
Yeah, I've got it muted.
My phone is, it's disconnected me anyway.
Randy, you just unmuted your phone.
Oh, sorry.
So we're well on our way with the Town and Country.
So are we gonna have the money? Have you figured any kind of budget on it yet?
We do have an engineer's estimate that is fairly high that we're working with right now. So, we'll see, you know, as far as the grant and stuff, you know, how we do on the grant.
Yeah.
And we'll go from
I think Samantha said that that's been extended.
there. Yes. I think it was officially, unofficially extended.
All right. Have you got anything on the storm monitor at Horton, Eric?
No, just that the surveyor is likely going to be coming out early next week to survey the property and the drainage down to the abandoned acequia that then goes to the re-rudosa. So we'll be surveying that whole area.
Okay. Is that acequia on the back of Walnut there?
Yeah, it's so what is that, Walnut that's down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right in the backyard of those houses on Walnut, that's where there's an old acequia that we've acquired all the water rights from it, and it's no longer functioning, but it's kind of a little wetland area that's got willows and other stuff, and it works as a drainage from the Horton complex to the river.
All right, Adam.
Our favorite subject, huh?
Yeah.
So, I guess it was in April, the council approved task order for Wilson and Company for architect or for plan and design of the RGU building. There has been some talk and some changes, and maybe Ron, if Ron has any input on this one, I don't know where we went.
On that other building, or,
On Shane Walker's building there.
yeah, did you take a look at that?
I did.
Will it work?
It's gonna have to be, there's have to be some additions and some entrance and egress, stuff done to it, but I mean, as far as the building, it's a good start, depending on the price. So that's, I mean, I don't know, Ron was gonna get with them and sit down with them, do some negotiations, see what they can come up with on it. But I think it would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what happens and, you know, what kind of shape I didn't see the inside, you know, I haven't seen anything about it, so just the outside and measured it and stuff, it looks.
Then you can have your shop and your nuts and dams.
Right? No, we have to annex it. I have to go out of the city limits.
Yeah, I can see the headlines now that they're trying to annex.
Yeah, moving in on them.
Yeah.
All right, Grindstone Dam projects.
Okay, task order number 2 is completed. It's signed by both parties. And Sauter Miller will probably start the surveying within 3 to 4 weeks. I'll get a confirmation from Gresh sometime this week. Task order number 3 is finished, and it will be put on next council meeting. Other than that, everything's moving along.
Good. In Eagle Creek and Gatlin Wellfield. Eric?
So this phase 2 is going to be the Brown well and Fault well. I've got the task order on tomorrow's workshop, council workshop. The task order is going to be with Moles and Corbin. And some notable things about it is Casey Cook is kind of an expensive engineer, and so he's going to be advising the project, but Katie Ellison is going to be the engineer of record. And so I think, you know, we've kind of got these projects down. We know what the staff want and the vaults and the meter setups and how to do the site layout. So I think this should be a pretty smooth project. And we cut the task order down by $20,000 by having Casey switch to an advisory role.
Good. Okay, the hazard mitigation and stabilization, is that Ron or you, Eric?
No, that's gonna be your turn.
Yeah, so we're still, of course, waiting on the completion of the EA, but the design modification that has been, the new date of completion is July 14th for the design. So that's pushed things back a little bit. SHPO's still on track to review both packages that are being submitted. They're still on track to have those completed, their review completed by mid-June. So hopefully with that and the interaction we're having another bi-weekly call with FEMA and Department of Homeland Security on Thursday to hopefully get a update on where everybody is on the review for FEMA, EHP, and SHPO, just staying on top of that. Of course, again, of course, the lift stations too, it's ready to come in, just waiting on the EA.
How are we doing on the easement?
Easements, the letters have gone to Frank Koppler and to Zach for final editing, and Zach will be putting those out for the restoration phase and for the lift station phase, and those we're going to have it. We're going to be putting into the body of the language, the letter stating that we want those back prior to June, into June. So hopefully we'll have all of those received back and filed before those letters actually go out. We've decided we're going to call each of the property owners and let them know they're getting mailed out so that they're aware that they're going to be getting them. That way, if they have any questions, they can set up a consultation with Phoebe and Bowles if needed. So hopefully those will go over smoothly. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
They've already contacted all of them before, so I don't think there's going to be anything surprise to anybody on these. It's just going to be a matter of if everybody's okay with the exhibits and the offer that is on the table for them.
Okay. It sounds like we'll have all that in place about the time we're supposed to be finished with the project. Right on.
Well, we have the official suspension through the first part of July, so it just depends on how things fall into place.
Yeah.
We didn't hear anything there. It was all it sounded like somebody was gargling in there. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're our connection on what?
I think it's the village council chambers because it's the same for me. I can hear everyone else perfectly, and it's just the council chambers that is doing that.
That one speaker we have, that little microphone speaker we have. That one microphone's never worked right.
Oh. So do you hear me over here?
Much better.
Oh, so we're too far away.
You might put that one down, Karen, if it works.
I don't know if this works. We'll move these down over here.
Yes. You had you gave a lot of information, but we didn't hear anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just gave them the update on where we were with the review of hazard mitigation, the design, letting them know that the design modification completion date has been extended to July 14th, and that SHPO's on track to review both packages by mid-June. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, much
Okay.
better.
Okay. So maybe that's what it was. These weren't spread out,
Yeah, just spread it out some more.
Yeah, and that Counselor Cornelius asked about the easements. So I updated him where we are with the easements for the restoration and lift stations. What else did we talk about, Adam?
That was it. And we've had meetings with SAK and Moles and Gordon and SADA is on board with what we're doing. They understand what's going
Right,
on.
they've been updated on everything. They're reviewing now the documents that Molson has provided to them as far as a change, what would be included in the change order. They're reviewing all of that right now.
What about with the SAK, you mentioned the suspension,
Yeah, I just told them that right now the official suspension date is through the 1st of July. So hopefully we'll have more updates. Maybe things will start gluing by then. But nobody's putting bets on anything.
All right, the lift stations and force mains.
That's the one I was telling you, it's ready for procurement. We're just waiting
Oh,
for
okay.
EA on that one. And then, of course, the easements that will hopefully all be put in place by June 30th.
Okay, are you doing all the procurement stuff or?
No, like Greenwell will be Eric.
Eric?
So for Greenwell, I'm getting the authorization form ready, and then I just need to sit down with John Commander, and we'll get that advertised and should be able to start it at the first couple months of the next fiscal year.
Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Mockingbird sewer line extension has been bid out, except started by MP Chavez. He has 3 manholes set, 3 of the 5 manholes set. So he's moving along for his completion date. Like I said, as soon as he gets done, we'll be able to hook up 11 to 13 people. Just depends on.
Good.
And then Paradise Canyon, I'll kind of combine these two together. Paradise Canyon lateral replacement and Pine Cliff waterline replacement have kind of they're 100% design on the shelf, ready to go. One of the things we are waiting for Paradise is the bridge, and we kind of put that on the back burner, until we can figure out what's going to go out with the whole Paradise Bridge. And Pine Cliff waterline replacement, since we do have 100% design on that. We're trying to look at maybe doing another CDBG grant, since we'll have the matches 100% water, and we can do the sewer all on one shot.
Good. So it'll be next year before we try to get that grant.
Yeah, I think there'll be 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
And Paradise too, we're trying to put whole together so that we only have to shut down Paradise Canyon one time.
If we're able to complete the town and country project and close it out within the threshold, we would be able to apply for the CDBG for the following year.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Okay. So it's not necessarily a 2-year deal, it's just a matter of closing out a project.
That's correct. They give you 2 years, but if you're able to close it out and everything's done by the deadline, and then you can apply for the new grant.
Okay, the construction on the Alta Crest treatment plant. Since Randy.
Yeah, we had the pre-construction meeting was held on the 27th. And then after the meeting, we did a site visit to Plan 3. We met with the contractors. They looked at all the items and they kind of formulated a plan on how they were gonna attack it. They're gonna start with working on the stuff on the outside during the summer months so they can take advantage of the nice weather. And we were able to work out schedules because they wanted to work from 7 to 5:30. And our guys were gonna work 6 to 4:30. So it looks like they're probably gonna start and work the same schedule as us. So that's gonna work out pretty well. And we talked a lot about communication and making sure we had a good game plan in case, anything came up, we would, address it right away. They plan on starting boots on the ground on July 1st. And I think the NTP was gonna be sometime mid-June. So, I think it's gonna be a good project. We seem to get along and I think it's gonna work out well.
All right, Eric, the main road bridge, additional work.
I think we got all the insurance and bonding and everything, right, Karen?
Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't verified that, but that's what we were waiting on to get, the,
Recon schedule?
right, pre-con scheduled. So, I'll get with Eddie again. I spoke to him. I should have asked him when I had him on the phone. So I'll get with him again and see if we have everything in place. We'll get that scheduled.
Do we know, so really, this project is just hinging on the Grindstone project, correct? So once Roper finishes there, he's gonna jump over to this, is that
That was
our knowledge of?
that was the original plan, was that we wanted him to finish up what we had going at Grindstone so that he can jump onto Main Road 1.
Does anyone know, are we on track to finish that up this week with the modified schedule?
For Grindstone work?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I haven't talked to Rodney this week.
They were still 2 to 3 weeks away from the completion of the project, is the last that I heard, but I'll text Rodney and find out for sure.
okay. Well, hopefully we can get maybe we can get the pre-con scheduled for possibly next week, Karen. I don't know if that's too soon or.
Yeah, let's find out where we are with Grindstone and then get with Ryan.
Did he ever get that block that was back ordered?
For Grindstone?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think he's got all the block, John. I think the issue was that's why he's still working on the project, is that the block delayed him.
Yeah. Okay, there are a bunch of well improvements that are probably you, Eric.
So Apple Orchard and Middle Gatlin, well, so they finished up the most of the civil work around Middle Gatlin, and they're working on installing the line. They found 2 buried abandoned pipes. One was the backwash pipe from treatment plant 2. We cut and capped that, and then they cut and capped the old line coming from the pump house there. And then on Apple Orchard, this is a question for Adam, but they've been having Lawrence has said they've been having a hard time trying to find the concrete line, the commingled line. And so I was going to pull the as-built. I've got the as-built from that project in the 60s to see if maybe we have a misunderstanding of where it's at exactly, or they said they've potholed it a couple times and they can't find it.
I'll tell you what, Eric, I'll run out there. I haven't been out there since I started digging, but I'm the one that disconnected that line, so I can show him exactly where it's at. It's right there. He's barely missing it somewhere.
Okay.
All right, Randy.
Well, if you could get with Jason and coordinate with him, it'd be nice to mark it out.
I'll give Jason a call in the morning.
The Country Club tank.
Yeah.
They actually are gonna start constructing the tank starting tomorrow. And we're probably looking about 36 days for tank erection. And everything's moving along pretty good. The foundation, everything's done. The rock wall is completed. Looks pretty sharp. So we're all gonna meet on site tomorrow and meet with the crew that's gonna build the tank and we're gonna go from there. We're still on schedule, for completion, I think in, is it, July 31st? Yeah, so we're still on shape, or we're still in good shape.
All right, the restoration of existing sewer lines and manholes.
That's the SAK project that's suspended right now,
Okay.
waiting on all of the check marks above.
Right. And the Alta 2 well improvements.
We ran into a little bit of issue on this project tied to the nationwide permit process. I just wanted to explain it a little bit. When we were designing the project, there was still the nationwide permit 12, which was for utility line crossings through waters of the U.S. And in the time frame of designing it and bidding it and getting it to here, that permit process has been vacated by a federal judge. It was tied to the some of the oil pipelines. And so the nationwide 12, the project didn't cross that pre-construction notification threshold. So basically, as long as we followed the conditions that were put in the permit, it was fine for us to do it. We didn't have to apply for it. We didn't have to get an authorization from the Army Corps. But since that's vacated, now we have to apply under the next best thing, which is a nationwide 18, which the project does cross the threshold. And so we do have to do the pre-construction notification application. And the Army Corps has been really helpful with that process, and they've done most of it. But we need to do a biological assessment because of the Mexican spotted owl, which is further up in Eagle Creek. And I'm capable of doing that, so I'm going to be writing that this week. And it hopefully shouldn't affect the project timeline.
Use that Hemlock Circle.
Yes. Hemlock Circle Phase 2 is done. I mean, paving's done. Water line is in use. They were actually just finishing up some grading, some shoveling around and raking and stuff like that. But it turned out really good. Came in within budget, under budget. So we're good to go now.
If we get all the deliverables back, we should be able to take it on the July 1st council, the July council for acceptance, if we can get all the deliverables turned in.
We're waiting on like the GIS points and stuff like that from the contractor.
Well, that one seemed to go pretty good.
We went pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna hit rock like we did last time, but we only ran into 25 feet of rock, so we did good.
You never know, right?
Yeah. Okay, and the closeout. So, yes. Eric, did you got the Grindstone Canyon wetlands?
Yeah, so we got all of the deliverables here yesterday. I've got the as-built drawings, and we also have the CAD files of the survey for all the log pour-over structures. And we're taking the final change order to the governing body to the workshop tomorrow. And that change order is just changing quantities. It isn't going to change the contract dollar amount at all.
So,
and so with that process, I'll start working on the project closeout report and making sure everything is in the project files.
and that's a final change order and acceptance, right? The project.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Adam,
Malone Drive and Apollo Drive are both finished. We finally got the deliverables from Malone, JS and the mapping and everything there. So the only thing that needs to be done is to get with Karen and do the closeout docs for both projects.
So are the Malone people happy now?
You know, I actually talked to, the attorney, whatever his name is up there, the other day, and he was asking about the sewer line, you know, just getting an update on where we're at with it. They were actually really happy after it was all done, said and done.
So are they gonna tie on to the sewer?
Well, I guess they're gonna have to.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, no, but he was really, he was thankful to the village and the contractor that they did a good job as far as, you know, keeping their spot up there nice and clean and
Good. And we're done with the follow finally?
the Apollo is done. Actually, you know, one of the things that goes with these geo bond projects is fire protection. And, you know, it's a good thing we had the fire protection this last week with that fire up there. You know, there's a hydrant right in front of the house. You know, it was to show you how it works.
Okay, Eric, the North Fork one.
Okay, so Karen and I just finished up the report today. So we've got all the project files complete. The wage decision's done. We put the data from the project in our GIS database. And I've got a short narrative of the project and some lessons learned. And so I thought I could just go through the lessons learned from the project for this. One being that when we worked on the well, we noticed that there was a substantial amount of work that was done on the well that was neither permitted or recorded anywhere from 2012. And so I just put in a reminder for us to get OSC permits for anything that has to deal with the casing of a well or cleaning out any sediment. And so we were able to find the daily logs of the work that was done in 2012. So we included that in our project report so we can see what casing work they did, because they did some milling of the casing, and they also put in a sleeve. So the casing was not as wide in a certain area as we thought it was. And luckily equipment wasn't purchased before that video was done of the well. The other thing is the well wasn't isolated when they were doing the rehab work. And so we accidentally ran a little bit of dirty water down to the treatment plant. It didn't do anything wrong. It's just caused the operators have to do a backwash on the filters a little bit sooner than they would have otherwise. And then with the VFD for the project, you know, they're taking almost upwards of a month to get built and delivered. And so I'll be sending out the report to everyone in the committee, but it shows that we were 10 days over on the anticipated completion date. And that's just tied to that equipment process and how long it took to get the VFD in.
Will that cause any problems with the Forest Service?
No, so we finished all of the noisy work before the start of the breeding season. So this was just some minor electrical work in the control building.
Okay.
So I think it was a good project. Next time you guys go up to the North Fork, Eagle Creek, look at the new wellheads, because they look nice. They're out of those vaults and they're up to code.
Sounds like an invite.
All right, does anybody have anything else?
I don't think so.
Good, well, then our next meeting's July 6th here at 3 o'clock, and I guess we're adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
When you give a germ, does that mean you take your face mask?
Yeah.
It's so hard to work in these.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's why I
man.
keep my office door closed and I just
Oh, no.
stay in there without it because I can't breathe.
Hey, Karen, where's Tim and, I'm gonna go meet with them
They're in Tim's office.
okay. Is that the old city manager's office?
Yes.
Poor guy's locked in there.
That's the new city manager's office.
Yeah,
Till we,
do the remodel, huh?
yeah, but he's not getting a new one.
No, I think the mayor is.
No,
Yeah.
that's a good office. There's a door where you can jump over the wall and escape.
Right?
You better take your rocks, Frank, you can
Oh,
pass them out back there.
I'm made to give them some rocks too.
They're used to people throwing rocks at them.
Yeah.